So we are live.
Hi.
Hi, Nikhil. My name is Anusha. I am an animal feeder here, and I have a company called Puppets, and for
There's a
caregivers
network
and
issue, I believe.
for stray dogs. So today we'll be talking about the guidelines for caregivers of street dogs, and we'll be asking Nikhil to tell us a little more about how a stray feeder or a caregiver should take care of the street dogs and what are their responsibilities. So, Nikhil, would you like to tell us a little about the animal welfare circular that is there? What does it talk about? Uh, how does it tell a stray feeder or a caregiver, and what are the guidelines that it tells us about? If you can speak a little about that and enlighten us.
Sure. I'd actually cover up the little bit of guidelines from Animal Welfare Board of India, which is mentioned, which is the law as well. Plus, I will cover up a little bit from the dog psychology, which are the right things and which are not the right things to do while feeding or taking care of animals. Then little bit from my experience that uh, things which we can avoid um, or should do, a mix of everything, but more or less it will
So
be about
where can a person get an access to the circular? Where should we go and search? Like where do we go and search for the circular?
so Animal Welfare Board of India has a website. um, I think try and put the link as well for Animal Welfare Board of India website, and there is a circular over there for street dogs and pet dogs both, and it talks about various things, do's and don'ts, which we should do, we shouldn't do, and everyone should read it. If they are taking care of community animals, they must read it and understand and follow it as much as possible.
So Nikhil, a lot of people here in Delhi, NCR, all over India are feeding stray dogs, and most of us don't aren't aware about what where should we feed, what are the guidelines, and what should a person do while feeding. So if you can tell us about what are the places where we can feed a stray dog, and what is allowed, where should we not feed, so what are the areas that we can feed a dog?
So first of all, feeding any hungry soul is your constitutional right, and everyone needs to know this. Be it you are an animal lover, you are not. Be it you do things for humans. Irrespective of any situation, you need to know that it's our constitutional right to feed any hungry, be it a human, be it an animal. Second is, and one should feed. Second is that what are the guidelines when it comes to animals and their feeding? Multiple things. We have multiple guidelines about how to feed, when to feed, where to feed,
Like what is the
everything.
area that we can feed in, if you can tell us about
But
that? What is the
I didn't
area
get
that we can feed? What are the areas that we can feed, like in front of our house, where inside our house, outside our house, some like what does the guideline say? Can we feed anywhere that we like?
so when we talk about feeding, and when we talk about feeding is an important thing when it comes to especially dogs. It's with all animals who are there on the street, but especially when it comes to dogs, um, there is one thing called feeding which you have to do. It's your constitutional right. It's the right thing to do. But there is one thing. You need to understand that you be responsible about feeding as well. How to be responsible? First and foremost, whenever you feed, do not litter over there. Do not make the place dirty. Do not cause inconvenience to others, which is very important. Second, what the guidelines in Animal Welfare Board of India says is you must avoid feeding in front of your own house, in front of somebody else's house. Try and find a corner, and dogs are also territorial. So it's not that you can take them a kilometer away and then feed them. That's not possible. You'd find another pack over there. So you
Yeah.
must identify a place, and it's very subjective. You can't have a clear cut line that this is the place you need to feed your dogs in or at. So you must realize and try and find out a place where people are not getting bothered. It's not creating a nuisance for others at all, and then feed peacefully. I know there would still be people walking up and would have a fight with you
Yeah.
about feeding or say multiple things, but you need to follow the guidelines. Feeding in front of your own house or somebody else's house is a bad thing, especially when it comes to dogs, because dogs are territorial. Dogs are, a species who work in leadership. They are loyal to the people who take care of them. By any chance, if dogs become territorial of your house and they try and take the leadership, and try and
Yeah.
protect your house, it will be a problem situation for people who are walking by, or maids or other servants.
Right.
If a dog assumes a threat from someone coming towards your house, there will be an issue.
Yeah.
That is why
So
these guidelines are made after taking the dog psychology into the mind, their habits, their ways. So not every place you will find empty places where you can feed easily, but you still got to figure out, try and find out. You're the best judge in your locality. You're the best judge. Which
yeah.
are the best places where I feed, and it should not cause problems to others. So one needs to understand that. Similar uh, with feeding, caregivers who keep beds or water bowls and anything for them, or jute sacks, anything that should also not be kept outside your house or somebody else's house. Again, try and find out a place which is a little neutral, so it can work out in a way wherein they are not, you know, claiming your house completely. Because if that happens, then it's a problem.
So a lot of people feed dogs twice, thrice a day. The stray dogs, whatever empties they have from their houses, they feed them. So is it right that we're making the dogs completely dependent on us if we're feeding them so many times a day and from our house and taking care? So what is your opinion on that? Like, should we what should we do to not make them totally dependent on us, so that, for example, we are not here
So first of
like
all, mhm.
so for example, we're not here, we're out of town or something like that. They are completely dependent on us. We have to make sure that we arrange food for them and everything. So what do you think about that?
So first of all, one should never make anyone dependent on you completely. Okay, dogs are scavenging animals. They will. It's their. It's a process in their life. They have to go find, hunt, small little hunts. They have to find food from garbage here and there. If they don't do that, they are not getting enough exercise. They will eat, if you're feeding them twice or thrice in a day, they will eat, sleep, and the body is not working out. They will definitely have health issues if they continue in this manner. So my advice to all the caregivers, feeders is do not make them dependent on you. Tomorrow you are not there, out of town for your work or any other thing. You would have to make arrangements. You would have to do multiple other things. Don't get into that. And there are a lot of people who stay on rent. Eventually, if they move places, and I get a lot of calls like this, that can you take my dogs in your shelter? And then I explain that it's not a shelter. We only do rehabilitation work. We do treatment. Then they say, oh, I'm shifting from here. These dogs are dependent on me. I've been feeding them from past 5 years. What do I do now? That's my point. Do not make them completely dependent on you. Take care of them, feed them, take medical responsibility of them if they get hurt or anything, but do not make them completely dependent on you. Feed them once a day. If you take my advice, feed them once in a day or once in 2 days, and see, analyze the situation. If a dog you think needs more food, then you give them more food depending on their health. uh, if not, then feed them once in 2 days. Let their habit of finding food be there, uh, you know, within themselves. You need to make sure that you're giving enough for their survival, that they're not dying out of hunger.
Right.
That is the most important thing. Taking care of them doesn't mean that you give them, loads of food at once and they would not even eat. They would leave it there. It's getting rotten after that. Then people are complaining, place is dirty. That's what I said initially. Do not litter. Whatever you feed, make sure it's over. You pick up whatever papers, newspapers, plates, whatever you give them in bowls, pick it up, take it with you, keep the place clean, and try and feed them once in a day or once in 2 days, according to me. In this lockdown time period, there were a lot of people feeding different areas in all over India, and there were a lot of dogs who were hungry because there were no people around, there were no hotels, there was no
Yeah.
garbage up till that level. So we all started feeding. I'm generally not a feeder on a regular basis, but we all started feeding and taking care of, and that's what we decided that today, if we have fed one particular area's dogs, tomorrow we are not going to feed there. We'll
Yeah.
come back day after tomorrow.
Alternate day feeding, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. They all survived. They were all happy. And you are looking for their survival only. Don't try and make it a habit that they would only wait for you. They would not do their workouts. They would not find their own food. No, don't do that. So
So,
tomorrow, by any
yeah.
chance, if you are not there, if you're out of town or if you're not there, if you've shifted your house, they still have the habit to find, hunt, from the garbage or anywhere, and they survive on their own.
Right. So, Nikhil, a lot of people ask me, what should we feed a stray dog? What is right? Like, what is easily accessible that we can feed a stray dog, and so that they can survive? Basic. What would you guide us? Like, what should we go and buy in order to feed them?
So it's actually a controversial question, and there are a lot of people give a lot of advice on what you should feed. Um, I also suggest good, if one can cook something at home and then feed, do that. But then there are a lot of people who are not into animal welfare, don't feed a lot of dogs, just one or two. Uh, they don't carry anything. They don't. They would go to you know, a grocery store or a pawn store, and they would just pick up biscuits and give it to dogs. That is also fine. These dogs survive on garbage. Okay, nothing is going to happen to them. Feed whatever is possible for you. There is only one thing: try and avoid milk as much as you can because it can cause loose motions and indigestion. You would not know because it's a street dog. Uh, would do motion and you would not come to know about it and can get sick. Try and avoid milk as much as possible. Rest everything is fine. Off and on, even if you're giving milk, that is also okay. But on a regular basis, don't give milk.
So dog food is
Rest, anything
also
and everything is fine. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
anything. Dog
Okay.
food, home cooked food, people who are giving biscuits, that is also fine. Anything is fine.
So, with taking care of feeding animals comes the responsibilities, like legal responsibilities of people, right, who are taking care of the dogs. So, when is a person legally responsible for the dog? When do we say, okay, you're now legally responsible for the dog, because and you're the one who's taking care of the dog? So, how do we, you know, judge that?
So, say for an instance, if I wish to feed, humans, people who are staying on the roads or on the signals, people who beg or do any activity like that. If I want to go and feed them, I will feed them, right? And if they
Yeah.
go and steal something in somebody's house or do any other activity or fight with anyone, can I be legally responsible
No.
that you have fed
You have to
them
address
and
that.
there should be an FIR on you? No,
No,
not
no,
possible.
doesn't work like
So
that.
the
Yeah.
system works in the same manner.
Okay.
You are feeding the hungry dogs. Anything happens out of your feeding or anything, you're not responsible. But yes, there is one important point wherein a lot of people, and I was just speaking to someone, and that person also does the same thing. Um, take dogs in and out of their house.
Yeah. A lot of people do that.
So they would, at the time of feeding, they will take them in 3 4 hours. The dogs will stay inside, and then they will come outside. Um, that is not right. Not right legally, not right ethically. Um, from dog psychology, if you see and understand, um, they don't like it either. Uh, yes, it is important if there is extreme weather, heavy rains or something, storm coming, you take them in for some time to secure them. That's a different thing altogether. But
Like
if
in
you make it a
summers also.
habit, yeah,
Summers
it's
also
it's about
it's hot.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's about securing them. Say, for
Yeah.
instance, there was floods in Assam. A lot of people
Right.
took
Took
the
the dogs
local
in.
animals
Yeah.
in because they wanted to save them. And same
Even
thing
in
happens
Mumbai,
in
a lot of people.
Mumbai, and yeah, a lot of places. Extreme weather. I'm talking about extreme, not even the regular weather. Extreme
Hmm.
weather. Anytime it's happening, yes, there are rains in extreme winters. That is happening. You must protect them. That's a different thing altogether. But on a regular basis, if you try and take them in and out of your house, and they're used to that situation, God forbid anything happens, if they go ahead and bite someone outside or even a scratch while playing, and that person files a complaint, then you are under legal responsibility because they are considered to be your
Dogs.
dogs. They
Yeah.
stay inside your house. They are your pet, and then there are many legal implications on it. That's the reason I advise people not to do it. Don't take them in and out until unless it's extreme requirement for the moment. On a regular basis, don't do this at all.
So coming to the part that most people have questions about is the vaccination and sterilization of dogs. What would you like tell the like? What would you like to tell the caregivers? Are they the ones who are responsible for vaccinating a dog, sterilizing a dog, even if like the dog is not was not there from the puppy stage, or there is a newborn dog? So how would you guide a person who's taking care of the dogs?
It's absolutely their responsibility because they are feeding the dogs. They know the dogs of that area pretty well. They know who are sterilized, who are not. Um, they are keeping a track of them. The guidelines in the Animal Welfare Board of India says the same thing. Get all your community dogs sterilized, get them vaccinated, and keep their record. Most of the people don't keep their record.
Yeah.
You need to tell the NGO who's doing the sterilization and vaccinating them to give you on paper record, and you need to keep them with you. It's a must.
So it is
99% people I know don't do it at all.
it is the same as a dog, like other vaccinations and everything is supposed to be done same as a normal dog that you would keep at home. You have to keep a card and everything similar. It's the similar
Yes,
a similar
absolutely,
procedure, right?
absolutely. Be the
Okay.
card. It depends on which NGO is giving you what. Either they're making a card or they'll make it on a piece of paper, because every vaccine has a sticker attached to the vaccine bottle. That
Yeah.
sticker will be put on to a card or a paper or anything and given to you with the name details or whatever, even the description of the dog, if there is no name of the dog. So you need to keep that thing with you, and if possible, if you're a little tech savvy, then attach the dog's picture as well next to it, so you have everything ready. Tomorrow anybody questions or any incidents happen, at least you can tell people it's a vaccinated dog. So it is a very important aspect, and one must do it. Plus, getting all your dogs sterilized and vaccinated is definitely the feeder's responsibility. Not the local NGO will not know how many dogs in your areas are sterilized or vaccinated. You must coordinate with them. Like um, from past so many years, Prendicos used to do it in Gurgaon. Now
Yeah.
Jeep Daya is doing it. Coordinate with them, get your dogs picked up, take pictures, the one you are sending for sterilization, and get them released after 3 4 days whenever they come back. Cross check with the pictures, take their records, and keep it with you.
So we can
Simple
go to a
process.
private vet or an NGO. Like we can start with this process, right? That you can either go to a
Yes,
private vet
yes.
or an NGO, like or
NGO
a government organization.
who has the municipality contract.
Okay, so
Like
it
in
should be
Gurgaon,
connected with MCG or MCD as per the municipal.
yeah, yeah. If you want a low cost sterilization or free of cost sterilization, otherwise it's your choice. If you say, for instance, you are taking care of 1 2 dogs, you want to get it done at a private vet, keep them in different rehabilitation centers or private medical boarding, or even with the doctor. That's also fine. Get it done. Keep the records with you. That's all.
So, Nikhil, as a caregiver, what I have seen is a lot of people are not okay with keeping dogs, like stray dogs, being around. So they either beat them or, they relocate them from one place to another. What should a caregiver do if we see something like that? How should we go by it?
Immediately intervene. Stop them. First of all, nobody has the right to beat anyone or try and relocate them. Both the things are against the law. They have all the right to live where they are living. It's been declared by the Honorable Supreme Court as well. Uh, so make a video, stop them. If they are trying to be aggressive with you, those humans, then you do not fight back. Please do not fight back there and then. Make a video, do not say anything, call 100 number, call your local animal activist or NGO, involve both of them. They know how to handle it better. Call 100, call the police, tackle the case. It's easier said than done. Um, it's a lot more complicated. I know that, and I've handled umpteen number of cases like that. But this is the only protocol one must follow. There is
So,
no
do
second
the
way. If you
do
try and
the
fight with them or get into a confrontation with them, it's only going to get more egoistic, more problematic, and eventually it'll all come on to the dogs only. So don't do that.
So, does the Animal Welfare Board circular tell us about relocation? Um, like, tell us a guideline what, for a caregiver. Like, does the circular tell us something about that?
Absolutely. Everything is mentioned in the circular that no dog can be relocated. Even any organization doesn't have the authority, be it an organization like the local municipal corporation, MCG, MCD, or any other cities municipality. Uh, be it that, be it any NGO like us or any other NGO, nobody can take the dog away from there without any reason. They're all come under the same guideline, they have to follow the protocol and the law, pick up the dog for sterilization, for treatment, or any other thing, and then release the dog back at the same place.
So what, like everyone, comes across an injured animal or an injured dog. So what would you say, what should a person do at first? For example, we see an injured dog in front of us. Depending upon the situation, what is the first thing that I as a caregiver or any other person as a caregiver should do? What would be the first thing that you would tell them?
First, it's subjective. It depends on how much you know about the dog. Is it a regular feeding dog? Can you handle the dog? Can you take care of the dog? Can you pick up the dog and rush to vet? What kind of injury is that? Contact a local animal shelter or rescue center. Um, Contact local animal activists. Make a photo or a video of the injury. Send it to them. They will check and they will let you know the what kind of injury is this, whether this can be treated on spot or the dog has to go to an NGO. Um, if it has to go, then send them the location. Do not just report and run away. That's not enough. NGOs are loaded with a lot of calls. They will never be able to come by just you informing that, sir, there is an injured dog on Rajiv Chowk and this side, and I can't wait here. I have to go
The
to
dog can
office.
also run
You
away from the
run away.
location.
Absolutely. No NGO can afford to come for multiple kilometers, waste their time, and try and find the dog. You need to play a role in the rescue. NGOs are loaded with calls, and while doing that, they can miss out on any other important rescue call. So you need to give them complete information. That's why photo video is important. I get 100 calls in a day, and a lot of people say, "Here is an injury. Can you come?" I ask them photo pictures, and then they disappear. They don't get back to me. Why? Play your role properly. I mean, I know. Yesterday, I've rescued a terrible dog with, I mean, a dog with a terrible wound and maggots. That lady had called me a couple of days ago, and I asked for videos and pictures, and then she got back to me yesterday, and she'd sent me the video picture. I knew that I have to rescue the dog there and then. She was absolutely responsible. She was, and no one in animal welfare, just normal people. And the dog was there in her locality. She made a video, sent it to me. When I reached, she sent me the location as well. I reached there. She coordinated. We got the dog picked up. Then the treatment started. We got the first aid done, blood test done. Now treatment is happening. So, be that responsible person. You cannot just tell and go away that here is a dog and you come and do that. No NGO can do that.
So, like basic as a feeder, and I have and a lot of people come through basic injuries. Like there would be a wound, and season it's a rainy season, so maggots are a big problem at this point of time. So something like that. If we see something like that, and we are not a person is not being able to take the dog to a vet, or any NGO is not that quick to come and pick the dog up, what is the first aid that you can tell us that we can do easily to save a life? Because a small thing like that can take a life of a dog. But if we,
See, it completely depends what kind of a wound and injury it is. First and foremost, you must consult your vet. If you can't take the dog to the vet, again send a video and picture. Pay them online consultation. Do anything, or most of the vets will tell you free of cost that this is something you need to start. Clean the wound with betadine, or put neosporin powder. Do other things, something like that, and just take care of them basic and start this medicine. A vet can prescribe medicine that what needs to be given. If not a vet, then you contact the local NGO or local animal activist, people who can help. There are basic medicines which can avoid flies and maggots getting onto a wound. Hymex is a simple cream. You can apply if there is an injury, if there's bleeding happening at an odd hour, nobody's um, that time available, nobody's picking up your call. Uh, Haldi is the best remedy. Ayurvedic, apply haldi to stop the bleeding. It'll take time, but it can happen. Uh, so these are basic things, and then if one wants to learn, can research a lot, go and consult your vet. They can all tell you basic first aid, because being animal caregivers, it's a regular thing. Though one should try and avoid self medication at all. But basic things, I am only talking about basic things to prevent these kind of a wounds or injury, or to get prevent them from getting that big and that bad. One can do basic stuff. If we all have little bit of knowledge, we all can do that. Consult your vets for that. They will be happily telling you. They will have no issues. They know the kind of good work you're doing.
So,
They will support you.
so, a lot of people, when a dog is injured, they see a dog injured, they get the dog home. So, is that the right decision
No,
to make?
no,
Like, should we, like, what do you suggest in that case?
no,
Because
not in every case. There could be one odd case or important injury, a big injury, or a bad case wherein you would have to keep the dog and then treat the dog, or something communicable which can be transferred to other dogs. It's dangerous. Then in that case, you're taking the dog in and treating the dog and then putting the dog back. That's a different thing altogether. But not on every small little thing. If there is a small wound, can be tackled outside. If there is mange, skin issue, skin infection, can be tackled outside. You don't have to get the dog
yeah,
in for that.
I see a lot of like there are a lot of areas where dogs are not neutered, not sterilized. So there are a lot of new puppies that come by. There are like mothers are not around sometimes. So a lot of people get the puppies home in order to make bring get them adopted, or that is a regular thing that I see a lot of posts for adoptions. We get puppies home, sometimes they're adopted, sometimes they're not adopted. What would you suggest? Should we like what should a person do? Leave the puppies there, or if they want to get them adopted, should they put
Again,
it out there?
again, subjective. Nobody has the correct answer for it, but try and follow the protocol. When you see a young puppy, and when I talk about a young puppy, a month or 2 month old, um, that puppy is alone and you don't see the siblings or the mother anywhere around that area. um, you need to find more first. You pick up the puppy, secure the puppy, but you need to find more. Try and ask the local people, or try and find the mother or siblings. If after a lot of hard work you don't find anyone around, any of the siblings or mother, then in that case you can pick up the puppy to secure if it's very young. But again, you are doing a very good job by picking up and securing the puppy, but that is where the job starts. It's not
It's a big
over. You've
responsibility.
yeah, you have not just completed the rescue. You can't put the load on NGOs or centers of the responsibility of the puppy on these places. If you can afford a boarding, then go to a boarding. You can keep the puppy yourself, then do it. Try and get the puppy adopted yourself. The NGOs and centers are loaded with uh, the requests like these. They are not the places puppy should be in at all. It's better for the puppy to stay outside on the road, because these places are hospitals.
Yeah,
Hospitals are not the place for young infant, um, low immunity puppies. They will get sick in between injured and sick dogs, and eventually they will die. Then people tell me that, oh, they will die on the roads as well. It's better something happens to them on the road, but not at this NGO or a center, because that's a miserable death. They had gone for a better life. That's not the better life. Better life is somebody in somebody's house, not these centers or NGOs. They are working hard to treat sick, injured animals. They cannot have the low immunity puppies at all. Try, and if you don't find anything, try and adjust those puppies in your lane, in your area, with your dogs. Take care of them, feed them, take care of them medically, deworm them, get them vaccinated at the right age, get them sterilized. Don't put the burden. Uh, Unfortunately, it's a very sad part of um, our country's people that we don't like to adopt indie dogs. We
Yeah,
all are looking for only
breed dog.
breed dogs. And I fail to understand that are looks the only thing people look for when they try and adopt a dog?
It's
Because
not
I
true.
don't
I think
find in
indie dogs are more loving. They're as like I have four of them, and they're as loving as a breed dog would be. Like
absolutely
as and as playful
no,
and more energetic probably.
nobody can prove me that any breed dog is better than an indie dog in terms of their immune system, in terms of their genetics, in terms of their maintenance, in terms of their uh, overall upkeep, in terms of their smartness. When we have a term called street smart, somebody is street smart. People use a lot of this term
They've seen it all.
in cricket. These dogs are street smart. They know how to survive. They have good immune system. They're very low on maintenance, and they are very sharp from their mind. You
So
cannot
Nikhil,
compare them
something
with
related
breed
to
dogs
this,
at all.
Saloni had a question. Can you
Hmm.
like he wants us to talk about bringing an adult dog home, like bringing home a adult stray dog. What would you guide a person who's bringing home a adult stray dog?
Again, subjective. According to me, every dog should get adopted for sure. Okay, be it their ages 2 years, 5 years, 1 year, or 2 months. But like I discussed in my session last time, that freedom is the most important thing. You got to
Yeah.
judge and understand that what kind of a dog is that, whether the dog likes to be inside your house or whether the dog likes to be outside and wants the freedom. If the dog's choice is that I want my freedom, if after you getting the dog home and the dog howls and cries and wants to go out after some time, then don't try and get that dog in at all. No,
Yeah.
just leave it there and then. Don't. Since beginning, if one has adopted an indie pup, will adjust at home. But any adult dog, it takes some
Time.
effort to get the dog home. But there are people who have done it successfully. They have done it. They've adopted adult street dogs from the street, and they're pretty happy. Everybody is happy. So it's situational based. It's on dog to dog. It cannot be. I mean, there is no fixed thing that we can say that adopt or don't adopt. Individually, it depends on every dog.
So it was very nice talking to you, Nikhil, about taking care of stray animals. Something that you would like to tell every caregiver of stray animals because they're wonderful. Like me as a caregiver, I would say it has been such a wonderful. Even during lockdown, it has been such a wonderful experience to get to know so many different dogs that identify us. Even when we go. If I'm not even feeding and we visit them, they identify us. So something that you'd like to tell every caregiver, your um, point of view, what you have seen.
Absolutely. Well, it's a wonderful thing, and my request to everybody that this gives you a lot of sukoon. If you like animals, try and take care of them as much as possible. Be
Yeah,
responsible. Um, and it was in fact mentioned at the time of lockdown by our PM as well, that do take care of your community animals, and
animals.
uh, you know Feeding, taking care of them is a very good thing. However, be responsible. Um, Take care of other things like do not litter, find the right place, get them neutered, get them vaccinated, basic protocol, do that and take care of them. And do not fight with people. If they're saying anything, just record anything. They are saying whatever they're saying, just record over a phone. Always carry your phone. Don't leave it at home and then go for feeding. And
Yeah.
and and then if there's a problem, report it to police, report it to local animal activists, and get your things sorted. And always remember, always one very important thing: there will always be a fight between animal haters and animal caregivers. Always. This can never end. This will always be on. That fight has to happen in the right channel, in the right manner. Okay. Say, for an instance, in my society, about 40 odd dogs, and often on there is a fight. It'll start from a WhatsApp group. Something has happened. It'll start, and then people would jump in, and you. So at that time, you need to understand that don't give up on this. Involve the right people. Fight with the law,
The
within the law.
legality.
Do not take law in your hand, and you will always come out to be a winner. Always, because you are doing the right thing. And keep
So we
fighting
should be there for the
in the
animals.
right manner.
And we are, yeah.
Anusha, I can't hear you.
Yeah. So we should be there for our animals like they are there for us. They're always by our side. So thank you, Nikhil.
Not
It was
audible.
hello, hello, hello. Am I audible, Nikhil? Hello,
Hello.
am I audible? Hello, am I audible, Nikhil? Now,
Somehow the voice is gone, Anusha. I can't hear you.
yeah. So I would just like to thank Nikhil for telling us everything. Um, about taking care of the dogs and what a caregiver should do. He has guided us through everything that we need to know. Everyone who would like to read about the guidelines, they have been uploaded.
I
uh,
can't hear you.
I'm just, yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I'm audible or no, but
you are.
I have a question from Ashok Taneja. Um, Very important question. He's asking about the guidelines for pet owners as well. Um, Ashok ji, if you go and log into Animal Welfare Board of India's website and find the circular I'm talking about since beginning, if your rights are absolutely mentioned clear cut over there, highlighted from a marker. Go to your maintenance office or RWA and give it to them. You are not liable to pay any fee, any extra maintenance, anything extra, any lift charges to any resident welfare association or maintenance office. It's absolutely illegal. You cannot be asked to go out of your society for the daily business of your dog, defecation and all. For all that, you are absolutely allowed to do everything within the society. However, there is your responsibility of cleaning up everything, whatever your dog does after that, because if we don't want our house to be dirty, how can we have our own society dirty? And same goes outside, even outside the society. You don't want that to be dirty. That's also a house. So clean up everything and inform your RWA that I am not going to pay any fees extra. It is absolutely illegal. Read the papers, give them the papers, and if they still impose anything, then You must involve a local activist and call on 100 number, involve police. That's absolutely illegal practice. Should not be continued anymore.
Thank you so much, Nikhil. I don't know if I'm
Anusha,
audible
I
right
still
now.
can't hear you. I don't know what is
Yeah,
happening.
I don't.
Hello?
Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Hi, Nikhil. Am I audible? Hello. Um, I would just like to thank you, Nikhil, uh, for guiding us through the entire procedure, what a caregiver should do, and how we should go by it. You've been a good help to all of us.
Hello?
Uh, Hello. 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 Hi, Nikhil. Am I audible?
If there's any other question, I'll take it up. Just put it on the screen. I'll take it up like that.
Oh, I'll just call you. So, Nikhil, I would just like to thank you
Yeah, no, sure.
for guiding us. Yeah, I would just like to thank you for guiding us through the entire process. And it has been wonderful talking to you about how to, because there were a lot of questions as a caregiver that you had, and you were able to clarify all of those within the period of time. So, I would really like to thank you for all the information that you've provided to us.
Thank you so much, Anusha. Thank you so much, DogSpot. A lovely time, and this experience has been wonderful. Yes, you know,
I hope we'll be doing more informative sessions like this with you for sure.
for sure, I'm always up for it. As in when you guys would give a shout out, I'll always be there with DogSpot and try and share whatever knowledge I've learned from, you know, seen an animal activist over the years. I've learned a lot of things from them. I'd like to pass it on to others. And yes, there is a technical problem because of which we have to do a call like that. Apologies from all the viewers that
Sorry.
there's some issue with the network. But always, whenever there is a question, people just look up for your local animal shelter or local animal activist number. Try and contact them. You'll always get the right information most of the time, and get your dog sorted. Always follow the Animal Welfare Board of India circular. Read it thoroughly. Most of your questions will be answered. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank,
Thank you so much,
thank you so much,
Anusha.
Nikhil.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.